I started out with a graduate degree in synthetic organic chemistry and went to work for pharma. Did drug discovery for a long time. Really, really wanted to help people, and I found that in the pharmaceutical industry, even though I was creating really interesting research and doing really interesting work, I was never actually helping people, and none of the work that I was doing was leading towards something that was going to benefit humanity as a whole. So I went and joined the supplement industry. I've been always interested in health and nutrition and fitness. I been interested in competitive sport basically for my whole life, uh, and have used supplements and used uh, basically gathered general knowledge about supplements from a science perspective as I was just, doing my job in the pharmaceutical industry and applied that to my own personal life, personal training, decided that would be a better way to help people developing supplements that I could really address some of the major problems with society that are they're not illnesses so much as problems with lifestyle, problems with nutrition, problems with uh, just the things that we do every day that make us unhealthy. And I knew that we could address that better from a supplement perspective than a pharmaceutical drug perspective. And so I joined the supplement industry, and I finally found a company in Synergy that combines the level of research, the level of scientific rigor that I'm used to from the pharmaceutical industry with the correct approach to wellness, really helping people be well, maintain wellness, and utilize uh, what we can actually get onto the market relatively easy in the supplement space to create health for people. Why Synergy? I love Synergy because I've been here for a long enough to understand the difference between Synergy and other companies that are out there. And when I first came to Synergy, the thing that made me want to stay, the thing that made me want to be a part of this company, was the Hughes Center and the lab here and the scientists here and the people here. And I want to give a little bit of a glimpse of that to you guys. And I really want to emphasize how important this is because every company out there says, oh, we're a quality-based company, we're a science-based company. Um, but there really is a difference. And I'm going to explain that as we go through. Um, this, so before I have to tell a story before I even get into this picture because it underscores the difference between Synergy and virtually every other company out there. I was the head of R&D for another supplement company about 10 years ago, and we tried our best to be a science-backed company. We did what we could. We had a not a real lab, but we had some scales. We had, places where we could build samples and we could do some small testing on the products that we did. And we tried our best to be a science-backed company, a science-based company. And that's what we sold our products as was science-backed, science-based products. If we could have spent the $5 to $10 million to create a lab like this, maybe we would have. But really, if you look at supplement companies, they don't have that kind of money to spend that $5 to $10 million on a lab like this, and they really don't need to. They don't need to because it doesn't matter as far as their ability to sell product. It only matters as far as their ability to create products that are really different and that are really going to work well. But they don't need that to sell product. All they need is a good marketing team. And this is something that I learned over the course of my career. Science doesn't sell, marketing sells. And because science doesn't sell, it tends to get a back seat. And I was kind of blown away when I saw the lab at Synergy because it's basically a pharmaceutical caliber lab. It's a multi-million dollar lab, And they don't need to do that. They only do that because they want to have the best quality products. They want to have truly different products. They want to have products that have gone through a formulation process that involves real research. And going back to my story when I was the head of R&D at this other company, as I said, we marketed the idea that we were a science-based company. So I was told that as the head of science, I needed to go and film a video about the science of our company. And I didn't know anything about this video. I just knew that, my marketing team had asked me to show up at a certain location and talk about our company and how we're science-based. So I get to this location, and it's a building that's just finished being constructed in a kind of an industrial area. And I go up to the floor where I was supposed to be, the third floor, and it was totally empty except for one quarter of the building where they had built a fake lab, and they had test tubes and beakers full of colored liquid. They had fake plants sticking out of test tubes, and they had actors walking around doing pretend science, basically. And I was told to go over and mix a test tube, and there was a director there. And I get there and I hold the test tube and I start tapping the bottom of the test tube. If you've ever actually been in a science lab and had to mix something in a test tube, that's how you mix the test tube. That's how you agitate the contents. And the director said, no, no, a scientist wouldn't do that. Swirl the test tube because that's what a scientist would do. I'm actually a scientist in a lab that's done this kind of stuff. And the director's telling me what people think a scientist would do. And that is how we sold science at that company, this perception of science. The thing I love about Synergy, number one, this is actually our lab. You can come visit this lab. Number two, the people in these pictures, they're actually people that work at the Hughes Center. This is Dr. Wei Gao. She's a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. She's brilliant. She knows analytical chemistry. She knows how small molecules interact with different signaling pathways in the body. And she's actually doing science in an actual fume hood. This is the corner of our lab where we do most of our wet chemistry. We have analytical instrumentation that allows us to separate the components of a plant into individual components so that we can isolate them and then study those isolated components, or we can remix them and study mixed components as we desire. We can create our own standardizations. We know which molecules from the plant we want because we've done the work to separate them out, to isolate them in some cases, to look at different types of extracts, different compounds, and how they interact in the body. We're able to do that in this lab. This is Anthony Hurlbert. He is basically our director of product development at the Hughes Center. He's the guy that makes sure all of the things get done that need to get done. And he doesn't work in the lab very much anymore, but he actually has a master's in chemistry. He knows how to work in the lab. He's been in the lab for a long period of time. He's doing work at an instrument called a FlexMap 3D. And this is basically where we do some of our biological assays. We can take some of those extracts, for example, that we isolated, that we were able to separate out from the chemistry that we did on the different plant parts, and then we can isolate, or we can examine what their effect is on different cells, different enzymes. We can do biochemical assays. We can do cell-based assays. We can see if our formulas or our ingredients are going to have an effect on different markers of inflammation, different markers of oxidative stress, different aspects of cell permeability, those types of things, all on this piece of equipment. We actually have a lab, a sterile lab, where we can grow cells. If you're doing cell culture, you need to have a specialized lab, a specialized hood. This hood is, if nobody's actively working in it, it has UV lights that kill all forms of bacteria, making sure that it's totally sterile all the time, where we can grow cells. We can maintain cell lines that we can then study in our other tests, our other assays, with our different ingredients, different products. This is Dr. Bhargavi Manda. She's a PhD in biochemistry. Her thesis is basically on gut barrier health, gut permeability, and she's an expert when it comes to actually doing biochemistry. Uh, Literally, no companies out there have even the scientists of this caliber, let alone the equipment for them to do real work on. This is Danny Jimenez. He's one of our product development scientists. He is in our sensory evaluation lab. And the thing I love about this lab is this is where we actually build prototypes. This is where we take all of the knowledge that we've gained from the other areas of our lab and start to put them together into a real product that we can then test in humans. We have incredibly advanced equipment. This one piece of equipment, just to have our service contract, our annual service contract on this one piece of equipment is about $60,000. That's like the cost of an entire employee just to have this one piece of equipment. To buy it brand new, it's a multi-million-dollar investment to buy it brand new. The reason we have this piece of equipment, which is basically a very, very highly sensitive, highly accurate instrument for separating and identifying different components of a mixture. So if I get an ingredient like say beetroot, for example, and I wanted to know the level of betaines in the beetroot and the level of nitrates in the beetroot, I can find that type of information. I can break down into individual components. If I wanted to make sure that my L-arginine has the right purity, I can use this machine to do that. If I have a complex mixture, like for example, ashwagandha, the active components of ashwagandha are called withanolides, and there can be a large number of withanolides and withanosides in ashwagandha, but the correct ones, the ones that have been clinically studied, we can identify, we can make sure that our ingredients as they come in are standardized to the correct things, and we can make sure when we create our own standardizations that those standardizations are going to work in the body the way that we want them to work. If you look at the tests that we're able to do, and this is just a little small piece of some of the internal studies that we've done, we're able to actually do in human studies, we're able to do in vivo, in vitro is basically either cell lines or assays, things like that, tests that are not in humans. We're able to do both of these types of tests to look at our products and differentiate them from other products on the market. This is the hands. I love the hands on this because the hands on this demonstrate the efficacy of our Pro 360 beats. And this is part of a study that I did and also took part in. And you sit in a room for about 30 minutes so that your body temperature equilibrates to the temperature in the room. And then we take a picture of your hand. And your hand, because your blood flow to your fingertips is never as good as the rest of your body because it's so peripheral, they tend to be colder than the rest of your body. So under a thermal imaging camera, the fingertips look a little bit purple. Then I take Pro 360 beats and blood flow enhances, and I'm getting more of that warm blood from my core into my fingertips, and I can actually see visually, and I can measure as well with a thermometer the temperature change in my fingertips. It's actually about 4 degrees Celsius temperature change in my fingertips just from taking Pro 360 beats because of that blood flow enhancement. We're able to look at nutrient content of our products versus other products in the market. Basically, we're able to say our products are significantly more nutrient dense or have more polyphenol content or have more content of specific molecules if we want to, using our instrumentation. We do studies on basically this is a study that's looking at antioxidant potential of a specific blend of nutrients. We call it PC4. It's a blend of nutrients that's actually found in Pro 360 Beats and other products as well. We had a hypothesis that if we combined these different extracts, we would get a synergistic effect. We thought that was probably the case, but then we were able to actually study it and prove it. Because we were able to study it and prove it, we were able to patent it. This is just showing the expected antioxidant potential if they were just additive versus the actual effect, which was significantly greater than the additive effect would have been, meaning it's truly synergistic, and a result that was surprising enough that we were able to patent it. We're able to look at things like oxidative stress fighting capacity. And this is a really big one when we're talking about things like glycation, protein glycation, which is one of the things I talked about earlier. If I have good, solid oxidative stress fighting capacity, then I can help reduce glycation in my body. And this is comparing Pro 360 Beats to another product that's on the market in the US that's kind of the leading competitor. And it's not even close. We have a huge antioxidant potential because we have a blend of significant variety of ingredients. Pro-arginine, the same thing. If you compare pro-arginine to competitors, pro-arginine is not just an L-arginine product. It's a product that combines L-arginine, L-citrulline, a variety of different antioxidants, and creates a product that is truly a unique cardiovascular health product. In this study, we're looking at nitric oxide levels in the blood using salivary nitrites as a surrogate. And this is actually a really interesting study. We compared nitric oxide to many, many, many products over the years. It's always better, significantly better as far as enhancing blood flow, as far as enhancing nitric oxide levels. One of the interesting things is there's a reason why there's a blend of L-arginine and L-citrulline in pro-arginine. And you can actually see it on this chart. You can see that as the L-arginine is consumed, you get an increase in nitric oxide. Then it starts to come down, and then you get a second bump. And that's because of the citrulline kicking in. Citrulline converts to L-arginine, and that kickstarts a cycle where the citrulline is converting into L-arginine. That L-arginine is being used to create nitric oxide, but that process regenerates citrulline, which then can regenerate L-arginine. So we're creating this cycle where we're recreating L-arginine, so that gives us an increase in nitric oxide that lasts longer, an increase in blood flow that lasts longer. The way that these products are designed and the way that we've been able to study them shows that they are truly different and truly unique compared to other products on the market. Product after product after product. This is our Pro 360 greens. Again, this is looking at polyphenol content compared to other products on the market. Significantly higher than products that are even considerably more expensive. Something like AG1, we have a considerably higher polyphenol content. And the diversity of polyphenols is even more pronounced. If we look at the diversity of polyphenols, they're pretty much just two polyphenols, EGCG and flavonols from cocoa. Whereas we have a whole diversity of polyphenols in our product because we're putting multiple vegetables in our product, real food in our product that actually has polyphenol content and gives us this diversity, not just adding a little bit of a green tea extract and a little bit of cocoa flavonoids to give us a polyphenol content. If we look at the actual green of our product, the green compounds, this is one of those things that it really bothers me when people say we have a green drink, but there's no vegetables in the product. There's almost nothing green in the product except for a little bit of spirulina. Our product, this is looking at a green wavelength of light being absorbed. So this is all the green compounds in our product, and it's like 15 times the amount that you see in other green drinks. It's an amazing difference. And we're able to demonstrate this because we actually have this lab. We're able to do this science, and we're able to show that our products are truly superior. Synergy is attached to Nature Sunshine. They're part of the same company, and that is actually a huge benefit because Nature Sunshine has been around for a long, long time. They've been doing herbalism and manufacturing their own products for a long, long time. And that is actually a key piece of why Synergy is better because we manufacture our own products. And we own our entire process. That's really the key thing. From the ground up, we own the process. We have significant, quality scores. If you look at the quality certifications, the quality that we have, it's unmatched because we care about the end product because we're creating the product ourselves. And it's pretty uncommon for a supplement company to create their own product. Every other company that I've been a part of, we use what's called third-party manufacturers or contract manufacturers. They have some of these quality certifications, what they're required to have, but they don't do any significant testing because testing is expensive. They uh, they don't really care about the end product because the bottom line is they're not selling the end product. They're just giving you, as a business, they're giving you what you've paid for, and you're selling the end product to your customers. So they don't care about the customer. They don't care about the customer experience. They just need to keep making this product and making profit on it. So they want to give you the least quality that they can possibly give you because that's their most profit. They want to give you the cheapest ingredients they can possibly give you because that's their most profit. When we talk about quality, I mean, we're testing every single step of the way on every raw material, every ingredient coming in, and every product coming out. That's something companies don't do. We're provided with a certificate of analysis when we purchase an ingredient. Most companies say, that's good enough. I have a certificate of analysis. I believe it. That's fine. We actually test and we reject over and over and over again ingredients that don't meet our own internal specifications that have nothing to do with the certificate of analysis that was given to us by that company. We set our specifications because we did the testing initially to know what that ingredient needs to be. Sourcing our own ingredients is huge. This is one of the most important aspects of the real quality of nature of synergy and the partnership with Nature Sunshine. When we source our own ingredients and control our own pipeline from farm all the way to finished good product, we are able to make sure that we're getting the best quality ingredients and ingredients that match our specifications that we designed in the lab in the Hughes Center. Things like our beets that we use in our Pro 360 beets. These are super unique beets. They're grown in the Himalayan mountains at high altitude, and the reason they're grown under those conditions is because we need to have the correct amount of nutrients. We need to have the correct amount of nitrates in these products, in our beets for the effect of the product. Now, we could get this similar concentration of nitrates if we went to a beet juice extract, but then all we're giving you is sugar and nitrates. We're not giving you any of the whole nutrition that you get from these beets. And these beets, because they're grown at high elevations, the plants actually use these nutrients to protect themselves from temperature and radiation, things like that from the sun. They have a higher nutrient content. And you could say the same thing about the L-arginine that we use in Pro-arginine. That is a specific source that's truly unique, rod-shaped, quite different than other L-arginines on the market. Every single product that comes through, as I said, it's tested all the way through. We create a fingerprint for each ingredient. And if the ingredient, when it comes in, doesn't match that fingerprint, then it's rejected. So the thing that truly sets Synergy apart really is that we own our entire process from the initial ideation of the product. We do all of the initial studies on the ingredients, all of the initial studies on the formulation. This is things that most people don't do already. We have control over sourcing. We have control over manufacturing. We have control over testing. That allows us to give you a product that is not just better, not just different than what's on the market, but truly better. And you will not find products like Synergy products any other company. You'll find other L-arginine products, but they are not nowhere near Pro-arginine as far as efficacy, as far as cardiovascular benefit. You can find other greens products, but they're not like Pro 360 greens. You can find other beets products, but they're not anywhere near the same product. That's all that I have. Thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully that was valuable.